One of the big songs on your new tour is When the Lie's So Big.
Yeah.
It's about what?
Pat Robertson.
Give me a sense of the lyrics.
When the lie's so big, as in Robertson's case, that sinister face behind all the Jesus hurrah could result in the end to a worrisome trend in which every American not born again could be punished in cruel and unusual ways by this treacherous cretin who tells everyone that he's Jesus' best friend.
Wow. Are you taking on Pat Robertson?
Sure, anytime.
Are you worried about his political success, that he is saying something that is resonating in America?
Well, it's where it's resonating and why it's resonating that is troublesome.
Meaning what? Where is it resonating and why?
The people, and not being an expert on his constituency, but from what I can learn from watching television, and I do watch a lot of news on television, it seems that the people who are fond of what he has to say haven't looked past the front to see what is really going on behind the screen.
What's going on behind the screen?
I happen to think that he is worthy of investigation for two things. One, involvement in the Iran-Contra scandal. Yes.
How so? I mean, I have not heard this before, so it's news to my ears. But
well, I'm not the only one that has suggested that somebody look into it.
Is this because of the time he saw Oliver North at the airport? And
no, not because he saw him at an airport, because he actively promoted the whole business on his television ministry, some ministry. First of all, he's got videotape of himself reviewing Contra troops. Now, suppose you want to review the Contra troops. How do you find out where they are? Who do you call, say, get me down there with a TV crew? Can you go and
sure,
stand in front?
Sure,
you
sure,
can.
Sure.
Can I?
Sure.
I can?
Oh, sure.
I doubt it.
Oh, no, you can. Absolutely.
What, they have this group of troops waiting there to go like this with a rifle?
If you had a television broadcast, or you were a journalist writing something, and you said, look, I'd like to go down and see the troops, so, you know, I'd like to go down there. I mean, you know how to call. You can call Miami. The Contras have an office down there, and they have people down there. I mean, you could make 2 or 3 phone calls in Washington to find out how you get down there.
So everybody listen to this. If you want to have your picture taken with the Contra troops, this is how you do it. Is this how Robertson did it?
I don't know how Robertson did it, but I'm just saying you could do it.
My theory is this, that he has been involved with funding for the Contras. He's been promoting the whole cause. Now, one of the things that made my eyebrows go up and down was, remember during the Contra hearings, you had the 3 people on there testifying, the people who donated. You had Coors,
right,
the lady, and the other guy on the end.
Yeah, right.
Can't remember his name.
Yeah.
He paid the $300,000 and got the Oliver North secret lecture, remember? Right. And Stokes said, what was the secret lecture? And they did a little rigmarole, and finally he says it.
Yeah.
Well, the results of what he described bear a very close resemblance to Pat Robertson's idea of how to win in Nicaragua. Sounds like the same thing to me, as he promoted on his show. So I have to say, did he pay $300,000 and get the secret lecture? Or did he tell his close friend, Oliver North?
Are they close friends?
Well, he says he's close friends.
Yeah.
My good friend, Oliver North.
Yeah, but you know, the story that came out about him is that he says that he saw Oliver North at the airport, and it's sort of, he was coming, I don't know whether it was Butler Aviation or somewhere here in Washington, a private airport. And as I remember it, Robertson said that North said he was going to Iran. He was going over to...
Yeah, he just sort of blabbed it out that he was going, I got a little arms deal I'm going to do, and I'll tell you, Pat, because you're close friends with Ron, so we're all in this together. What we're talking about here is xenocracy. Mysterious government, you know, Xeno.
Oh, Xeno,
stranger,
yeah, all right.
So I like democracy, not xenocracy. If you're going to have government, let's find out what the people are doing, because in the real world, in the American world, people who work in the government are your employees.
Turning right?
No, I think that the media is turning right. And I think that many of the people who get into office have gotten in there by wearing a pseudo middle-of-the-road kind of a costume, and then lean toward the right when they find out the right is paying the freight once they get into office. Let our minds drift back to the early days right before Reagan made his big run. There was a deal made between the fundamentalist right, and the Republican Party literally purchasing the platform. If you stick the prayer in school on here, if you stick the abortion on here, money, the land of milk and honey will flow in your direction.
I mean, is that any different than politics of the Democratic Party, in which, you know, all kinds of different interest groups had certain things they wanted in the platform?
It is very different. It is very different, because it is so focused, and it is so wealthy, and it is so protected. There's so much money involved, and I think that it has been the ruination of the GOP. You know, GOP now has, as they say...
The grand old party?
That's right. Enterprisers on one side and moralizers on the other. I'm with the enterprisers. Let's get, you know, let's get down to business.
You're for Jack Kemp, then, on one hand, when he talks about entrepreneurial activity and all that?
The line is nice, but I'm not for Jack Kemp. You know what I mean? Yeah. What I'm saying is that if you were going to be a Republican, you ought to focus on what Republicans are supposed to be good at, which is, let's do business, okay? Yeah. And I think business is good for the whole world. People like to do business. But when you start trying to legislate morality, you've got a problem. You know, it doesn't work. It hasn't worked in the past. It won't work in the future.
Yeah, but if anything goes, there's got to be some sense of responsibility, don't you think?
There's a difference between responsibility and adherence to dogma. When the dogma becomes legislation, that's when you have the danger. I have this horrible fear that the United States could wend its way toward being a fascist theocracy, the cross converted into a symbol of fascism in the service of politics. This is bad.
You think that's why Pat Robertson's doing well out there? Some sense.
I think that he's doing well because
identification with the cross.
It is the identification with the cross, the fact that he claims to be speaking on behalf of a supernatural being who has certified his campaign.
But see, the interesting thing when you say that is that he is running, he's trying very carefully to distance himself. I mean, he got into a little thing with Brokaw on election night, on the caucus night, in which he said, you know, it's religious bigotry for you, Mr. Brokaw, to call me a television evangelist. What I was a TV broadcaster, and I built. It's the notion that he wants to separate. Okay, but Frank, come on. He wants to separate himself from that religion
thing. He would love to, but the fact is, he has been a faith healer. There's videotapes of him doing faith healing. He lies about that. He's trying to distance himself.
That's what he's trying to distance himself from. But you're saying that there's an appeal there. So why? But
look,
you see what I'm saying?
Toward the end of this little caucus race in Iowa, we saw him pulling out the religious stops. In the front part of it, he's trying to make it look like, oh, I'm only politics. I'm a broadcaster. I've made millions of dollars. I'm a good businessman. Now, you know, look at me. I can do this business for the country. And then at the end, when he had some doubts, here comes the Jesus again. I mean, he's going to pull the Jesus string again.